One of the things which really sets MAFIA apart, and I think which is one of the things that gets people most excited about MAFIA, is the fact that effectively Jacob and team are building a metaverse. They're building a metaverse on Pulse Chain, and they're building a metaverse on BNB Chain. Today, we're going to be talking about Metaverse Map and exactly what the map means. Welcome back to KvltDeFi, everyone. This is the channel where we bring you the latest and greatest in innovations and tech in decentralized finance, quite specifically on Pulse Chain, even more specifically in the Dev Jacob ecosystem. Okay. Today we are going to be talking about map and metaverse. What exactly does that mean, and what exactly the map does? We have 10 days to go. Okay, this is the countdown, day 10. Now is the time when a lot of the players and families are starting to really hoard these keys, like we said in previous videos. In order to get this land, when this land goes on sale, you need to have keys, and with the keys you need to open these land crates. Okay, you will be able to get various pieces of land. Some are going to be more valuable than others. That's why people right now are hoarding these keys en masse, so they can start to really get, you know, to fight over this land, to get as much land and as much good land as they can. Right, so in order to have a look at that, we need to go into the website. If we have a look here on the map, we can see that we are 10 days and 14 hours until the map goes live. And it says here, get ready to build your empire. Okay. What we are actually going to do, we are going to click into the wiki like we have done before. And in wiki, we can see here, launch stage number 7 is the map, right? So it says coming soon. Then we have a bunch of these different connector buttons, which we will be pressing on right now. Okay. So first we will look at land tiles. Land tiles, remember, is probably the most important thing for, especially for families, as we start to move forward. Okay, but not only that, as I said previously, you can become a city developer. You know, any player out there, even a rogue player, can absolutely smash as many of these tiles as possible, and they can really look over to taking over the world, right? So it says here, land tiles, don't miss out on claiming your piece of MAFIA. Literally, you are claiming a piece of this metaverse, right? So it says a list of available land tiles. So user tiles, yes, they're user owned. There's 1,000 of those. You get those through an RNG, right? Which is what you will be doing when you open the crates. There are infrastructure tiles. They are not up for grabs. They are not for the players. These are things like the roadways, the pathways, the rivers, the trees, all those type of things, right? That would be the environment tile. Then we have business tiles. Now, the business tiles are the business items that were claimed from the crates in the beginning. All the business items are currently owned by people. There are none in the crates, but a lot of them come up on the marketplace every now and again. So have a look on the market, and maybe you can get your hands on something pretty nice, pretty juicy. So these are the business tiles. So these are things like the hospital. These are things like the bullet factories. These are things like the roulette table or the slot machine. Or the car crushers, right? All of these different business items, basically what they do, if you own one of these, they carry out a certain function, and that function, if you are the owner, that function is actually generating this yield for you. For example, if you were to own a car crusher, people in game that maybe will steal cars, or maybe they have cars and, you know, they have some lower level cars that they don't particularly want, or maybe they've literally stolen cars in the game, they will go to a bullet crusher, a car crusher, and that car crusher will effectively turn your old car, or, you know, your not so valuable car, into a prized asset, which is bullets, right? Remember, we said bullets are actually going to have their own token. It's going to be traded on dexes. So if you were entitled as a player to say, okay, I'm going to make most money in MAFIA by stealing cars and then selling them to the bullet crushers, or the car crushers. That is one way to do it, right? And then we have a raid spot tiles. So these raid spot tiles, we will get to those in a minute. They are actually a pretty interesting function, what I've seen for the players. It's basically so how players can gang up and they can actually raid the protocol itself in the hopes that they would win. It says the amount of infrastructure tiles and environment tiles will vary between each city. Cities of different sizes. It says, note, all values are per city. All cities have a total of 1,500 tiles. And it says how to claim a land tile. Right, this is what you need to know ready for map launch. It says, select what city you'd like to claim your land in. Spend 1 key to open your land crate. The first RNG will decide which of the 1,000 spots that you will get. And then the second RNG will show you how valuable that piece of land is. So it'll decide what development stage you will need to start. And it says, note, very lucky users might get a hotel on map day one, earning you city inflation straight away. So as soon as these land crates get opened up, people will effectively be earning this in-game cash in their portfolio every 24 hours. It says, using keys, you can claim land tiles. The game will randomly select one of the available land tiles for you. Just like crates, you can either get a very rare and valuable tile, or you can get something less desirable. There are many factors that impact the worth of each tile, different zones, different variants, different connector tiles, and so on. All user-owned tiles can be upgraded and built upon, and all user-owned tiles can be transferred to other users or listed on the marketplace. So like we saw when we were looking on the marketplace, when I think it was the bulletproof vest, literally, if you are lucky enough to open a good land tile, you can put it on the marketplace. Maybe you can do an OTC deal with someone. For example, if you were to open a land tile in a city that, you know, it's a pretty good land tile in a good area, you know, it's got in a good zone, it's got good connectors to close to maybe family headquarters, that family would be in their interest actually to reach out to you and maybe open a discourse. It could be that they would offer you a deal to try and, you know, to sell it to them. Maybe you could rent it to them. Maybe they will just say, give it to us, or else we are going to come and take it. Right, so that is the game. Remember, this is a killer be kill game. Strategy is absolute paramount. It says here, variants, elements, and tiles. The MAFIA map consists of more than 1,000 uniquely designed 1920s style city elements. Everything is custom made and will not exist anywhere else other than the MAFIA protocol. So here we can see an example of just one of these. You can see, so we have a tile. It has a piece of road. It has 6 trees, a couple of benches, and a couple of cars. Right now, one thing which we haven't seen yet, but we know it's coming, is that you will be able to zoom out, obviously, of the city, and you'll be able to zoom into street level from MAFIA. This is something which I am absolutely more. I think I'm probably most excited about that. I think this is really what this game is about. It's about this world that the team are creating. Seeing the world and seeing how it's going to operate, I think, is really, really the most exciting thing actually for me. Okay, then we can see. So on the wiki, on the right-hand side, we can see we have a map. So that was land tiles. Let's look at buildings. So this is what you will be able to do and earn on your land. Okay, so it says when you own a land tile, it's about time to start building on it. List of upgradable options for user-owned land tiles are below. We'll have a look. You can only upgrade to the next level after a delay time has passed. Now, nearly every action that you have in MAFIA, in the game itself, there is a cooldown period after each time. For example, if you do a successful heist, you want to do that heist again, there will be a cooldown period. Different cooldown periods depend on the different actions that are there. Some are longer, some are shorter. Okay, so it says it's not possible to jump between upgrade levels. Right, so you have to do it in a sequence. All levels have to be passed to reach the final development stage. And it says all upgrade functions will be available when phase 7, the map, goes live. So this is what we are waiting for. So it says here, just a default, a plain tile. So the upgrade cost is 1 key and it has a defense power of 3. There is no delay and you don't have to stake any MAFIA. If you want to, so if you get a basic land tile and you want to start upgrading, so if you want to, first you have to upgrade to a shed. A shed will cost you 250,000 in in-game currency. It has a defense power of 7 and there is a 24-hour delay. So that means basically you can just do that one upgrade every 24 hours. And it says here that you have to have 10,000 MAFIA stakes. So you have to stake 10,000 MAFIA. All that MAFIA is absolutely safe. You can unstake it at any time and then your tile will just revert back down again. It says here, if you want to upgrade then to a house, so it will cost you 1 million in in-game currency. It has a defense power of 12. And again, there's a 24-hour cooldown period. And you have to have 25,000 MAFIA staked. And then we have a villa, so it's 2.5 million, defensive power of 17. So we're jumping up now because we're getting to, you know, more prized positions. There's a 48-hour period, and then you have 50,000 MAFIA staked. An apartment block will cost you 1 key and 5 million. In-game currency, defense power 25, 48-hour cooldown, and you have to have 100,000 MAFIA stakes. So I think 100,000 MAFIA on Pulse is around, I think it's around $100 or something. It's close to that. Then obviously a mansion, next level up, 7.5 million, 34 defensive power, again 48 hours and 125. And then an office building, it'll cost you 10 million in-game currency, defense power of 68, 72 hours cooldown, and 250,000 stakes. And then a large hotel will cost you 12.5 million, 100 is defense, and 72 hours, and you have to have 500,000 staked. Now, after you upgrade to a hotel, this is when a family can upgrade that hotel to a HQ, right? So they can actually make a HQ. It says, important, all upgrade prices are subject to change. That's fair because we're in early access. And it says, upgrading a hotel to a family HQ is only available at full game launch. Okay, and it says, see, creating a family. We've already done that. We covered that in the first video, so we don't have to do that now. And it says, what is defensive power? Defense power is the amount of defense power added to your character by owning that tile and its developments. Okay, now note that it is the defense power. It gives your character. Remember, your character is the #1 thing you have to care about in this game. If your character is dead, you are dead from the game, right? You have to literally create another character and start again pretty much from zero. Minus, obviously, if you put yourself in a testimonial. It says, attacking someone in a city where they have immense defense power through assets is a tough task. Gangsters can't be at home at all times. You might want to plan your attack when your enemy is traveling or out of town, right? Remember, when we talked about the notification credits, so if you're away from the game, remember, once again, this is a metaverse. This doesn't sleep. This world continues to go whether you are playing or you are not playing. Okay, so that's why notification credits were super, super important. We already covered that. It says, what is the MAFIA requirement? So each building stage requires a certain amount of staked MAFIA tokens to operate. You can think of it as an operating cost. The MAFIA stake can be ended at any time, and you can reclaim 100% of your MAFIA from the building. But when the building is not in operation, all defense powers are inactive. So it makes sense for you, if you own any of these tiles and you want to get that inflation, you want to get that yield from your assets, it's very important to have them operating at all costs. Okay, it says, what is the cost of upgrading? To upgrade your land or to upgrade your tile, you spend in-game currency. This is a one-time deflationary fee that you won't get back. Now, in-game currency, as we know, inflates because that's what people are getting from the game. So there has to be ways to offset that, and to offset it means burning it or destroying it. There's many different ways to do that in the game. We'll look at some of those in upcoming videos. Can I choose my tiles and buildings? It said yes. Okay, so you can choose, like we saw, you can choose a city you want to be in. Now, if you're killed, your tile resets to default, and now it's claimable again. So if you go through all the trouble of upgrading and upgrading, and you finally get to a, maybe you get to a hotel, obviously you will have probably not so much a target on your back, but if people know and people recognize it, and obviously people, people might want to come and take it. For example, families, you need to make sure that you have all your security. You need to make sure you have enough weapons and health and bullets and all the rest of it. Okay, you need to make sure you have all of that, because when you're killed, your land tiles resets to default. Obviously, the land tiles can't get burnt because the metaverse still exists. The land and map still exists, which means then that someone else can actually come and claim it. So it is very very, very important to make sure that you have your security on board. And so how do my buildings work together with other assets? So having ownership of tiles in combination with each other and in close proximity to your family HQ will greatly improve your defense powers. There are multiple booster features which adds extra defense to your tiles. Right? We can see connectors and K2 sides. Again, we'll have a look at it in a minute. Okay, now look at this. So this will be obviously a bit of a zoomed out image, but this was an example of a booze warehouse. So even if we have a look here, we can see there's I think there are some stills down there. I think there's a bunch of stuff in pallets there. Obviously, I can't wait to see this a bit closer. I think it's going to be really, really, really good. I'm very, very excited about this if you haven't noticed already. So there we go, city zones. Okay, now this again, very important part of the game. It says all cities are divided into zones. Some are more valuable and desirable than others. Get a hold of the tile that fits your strategy and your family. So it says each city is divided into 4 different zones. All user-owned tiles will have one of these classifications. So you will have just a common tile, which has nothing. You have a middle class area, you have an upper class area, and then you have the elite area. Okay, so obviously, if you were to open a land tile in an elite area and you manage to get a hotel, wow, you have one of the most desirable aspects in the whole game. And I think if we start to see those being sold on the marketplace, I think we're talking thousands and thousands of dollars. They're extremely important to families because obviously they affect the vault. Okay, the vault payouts. So it says building designs and variants. These zones will also define the graphical look of your development efforts. Each building stage has 3 different variants based on what what zone your tile is positioned. You will get a different variant design. This is an effort to create a diverse and natural looking city. Okay, so this isn't just copy paste, copy paste, copy paste. Every city will look exactly the same. Every city will have, the same layout, the same everything. These are actual real areas. Okay, we do know that in this game there are 11 cities, right? 11 cities across 3 continents, and obviously different families might have headquarters in different places. Through allegiances, some families that might have, they're literally, their family might be only in the US, but through allegiances they might actually have a bit of grasp over some of the land, say in South America. So that's how important allegiances are in this game. It says acquiring a tile in the elite zone is based on the land claim RNG. You can't simply select that position to purchase it, but if you're lucky enough to receive an elite tile zone, you can choose to list it on the market for sale or build it for your own use. Like that. So that is something, again, which we have touched on before. So next, if we go down to HQ size, so this is really for you families out there. Okay, it says no family can grow in size without having the necessary buildings and tiles to support it. You surely don't want your members to live on the streets, right? It says a family HQ building gets by default 5 member spaces. If your family wants to grow larger than 5, you need to acquire slots that are connected to your family building HQ, right? So you're literally expanding your territory the bigger your family gets. For each connected tile, the family HQ grows with 3 member spots. If your family contains more members than their HQ size, your family will get punished. You will until you bring it in order. So basically, the vault suspension will come into force. Okay, so you will stop getting payments from the vault until you manage your territory. It says, note, it's expected upon map launch that most families will have their vault suspended because of this, because they don't own any land yet. This is due to mismatch in total members and size. Okay, so families, do your homework, make sure you are ready. If that means hoarding tiles, okay. Hoarding keys, okay. If it means that you're not going to open land tiles, you're just literally going to wait and maybe threaten some of these other families in order to give you those tiles, that is also a possibility. Effectively, then it would probably cost you 0. It could be that you want to open negotiations and do a lot of deals. Literally, someone can maybe give you their tile, put it under your family, or they can join your family, or they can send it to you to rent it, right? You can literally, remember, you can rent these tiles also, right? You can do whatever you want with them. If you own the tile, you can do whatever you want with them. You can rent it out to people, you can just give it to people, you can keep it and defend that, defend that hill, right? It says, so connectors, the most game mechanic influential part of the map update. Make sure you and your members own the right tiles. Having connected tiles is very powerful. At the same time, it'll also be your weakness. Connectors are relevant for both family HQ size, but also for worth/defense values of any user-owned tile. It says tile position affects connectors greatly. The maximum amount of connectors on a single tile can have is 8. Right? This is if your tile is placed in the middle of nothing. Okay, so if you have a connector tile, there are 8 possible connectors to that. Remember, every tile offers 3 family spaces, so it can add up actually quite quickly. When a tile is surrounded by protocol-owned assets, this number is reduced. An example would be that if a user tile is placed on a road corner, this tile now only has 3 maximum connector tiles. These tiles are now These 3 tiles are now just as powerful as if you had 8, simply because it's a measurement of total percentage available tiles to connect to. In other words, the less connector tiles you have, the easier it is to get 100% connector coverage. The effect of this mechanic is that all tiles which are closer to the road, water, nature will naturally be more valuable, as you need to spend less effort to achieve high worth and defensive values, right? So keep that in mind. So even if you might have, you know, some a road or water or nature, and you think, oh no, there's nothing I can do with this, depending on how families need to connect to these tiles, may mean that your tile is actually worth something quite valuable. This is an example of the most desirable tile location, as it only has one possible connector, which gives you the same benefit as a tile with 8 connectors, as seen as 100% coverage. So here, if you scroll down here, we can see there's a blank piece of land, but look, it has corner, corner, corner. Okay, so really, you can only connect to this tile through here, right? So that means that this actually might be quite a high value position. And it says, why is this also a weakness, right? Imagine if you have a single string of tiles that connect your family HQ like a snake. So you have one HQ, you have connector tile, connector tile, connector tile, connector tile. If your enemy targets the tile closest to your family HQ and kills the owner, your family will not only lose that connector tile, but the HQ size attributes to every other tile that was connected through a specific tile. So effectively, so it says here, effectively putting your family into vault suspension. So if you have HQ and a bunch of connector tiles like a long snake, like they said, if you cut the head off the snake, all those other tiles are useless for that family, right? So again, very, very, very important. You families out there, make sure that you are following this to a T. It says raid spots. Now, this is something I think is actually really cool. So raid spots, team up with your family members to raid protocol owned spots. It's difficult and it comes with a high risk. If done correctly, it will become a highly profitable crime. Okay, so in other words, with the raid spots, you are actually attacking the protocol. You're not attacking another family. You're attacking the protocol, and you might win some assets from the protocol. You can imagine that any protocol owned raid spots are going to be not just valuable. I think there's going to be very, very, very profitable. There's going to be a lot of profit to be made by doing these things. Now, something as well, which we touched on the live stream before, these raid spots is not necessarily just a family. For example, if you are a rogue player, like I am in the game, you can also connect to other rogue players and not just create a family. I mean, you don't have to do that, but you can group together and you can, as a team, go and raid the protocol spots. So it's not just about families. You literally can do it just with other members too. And I guess that kind of also means then that even if you're in a family, you can still go and join other people, maybe who are not in your family, or maybe even in a competing family, and you can go and do these raids and, you know, earn yourself some money. This is something which we are going to touch on much more in an upcoming video anyway, but I'll just run through it quickly here. So a city developer. Become the most influential developer in the city. Enjoy extra defense powers for your efforts. Now, only one user can have the city developer role, and it's a powerful role that is automatically given to the user with the most owned and progressed land tile. So basically, if you are rogue player, family, it doesn't really matter, I guess. If you own most of the land, you're going to be the city developer, right? Which means that for every one of your assets that you have developed, you're going to be earning yield off of those. So if, and you know, as long as you manage to keep them, that yield just keeps on coming and coming and coming. All buildings have worth values, just like crate items. The more you own, the more powerful you are. Having one tile with a hotel on it is much more powerful than having 20 empty tiles. You should think twice about attacking a city developer as long as they're in that city, because they have huge amount of defense, huge amount of, well, I want to say authority, really. And then we look down here, and I love these graphics. These graphics are absolutely excellent. Well done to the team. But we will go through city developer in an upcoming video, because I think it's going to be really, I mean, it is kind of pretty much the most prized position you can be in as a player, really. Specifications. Summary of all detailed information such as worth values. Again, that is coming in the future. Now, vault suspension. Okay, I am one of these videos in this video series is actually going to be specifically about the vault, so we will talk about vault suspension in that one also. But for now, we just say if you can't house all your family members, the vault will suspend its payout. Watch out, other families might take advantage of this and suspend your payout by attacking critical users. Now, this again comes all down to strategy. And it says you can check out HQ page for more information, but we will look at that, as I said, in another video. Then city inflation. This is, I guess, the most interesting part for everyone, right? What am I going to be earning by playing this game? So if you own a hotel or office building, you will earn city inflation payout every 24 hours. All visitors of a city needs a place to stay. Owners of hotels and offices will earn a fixed amount of cash per 24 hours. Make sure your buildings are in active operation. Otherwise, you won't earn any city inflation and your defense values will be inactive. Right? Keep your MAFIA states together with your building to make sure it benefits you the most. Right? So if we look at some of these example values, so if you have an apartment, you will be getting a 75,000 in-game cash dollar payout every 24 hours, and you have a max claim interval of 7 days. If you have an office building, you get $160,000 every 24 hours. Again, 24-hour is the claim, and a hotel is $250,000 MAFIA, in-game currency every 24 hours. Okay, and again, here we go. This is the MAFIA guy collecting his money. So, guys, that was Metaverse. That was the map, right? These land tiles are so important to the way you play the game. You need to have all of your plans in place and strategy in place. Okay, one of these upcoming videos again is going to be literally strategy, right? How to be the most strategic player you possibly can be. So, guys, that was it. That is Metaverse and map, right? It's extremely important that you do your research on these land tiles. Discuss with your families, discuss even as just an individual player, what do you want from this game? Is it that you want to be, you want literally just passive income? Is it that you really want to do these heists and crimes all the time? Is it that you just want to earn this passive income inflation? Is it that you want to literally take other items off other people? And maybe that's exactly what you want to do this for, you know, that's what you want to play. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you're notified when I bring out other videos. There will be another video dropping tomorrow and every day up until map. We do have some lives set up that we're going to be doing. We're going to have some new people that we're going to be streaming with too, which I think is going to be very interesting. I'm excited about that. Guys, if you like these two t-shirts, what better way to flaunt PulseChain and Hex.com than with merch, right? If you want to get the best merch in Hexical, really, visit pulsicanstore.com, right? There is a 20% discount on for your entire shopping cart up there if you want to use that. I would absolutely suggest that. I think their merch is absolutely hands down the best that I've seen out there. If you want to look a bit more into MAFIA, I would suggest in the banner across the bottom, you will see that you can join our telegrams. That's where most of the chat happens. Most of the game is played on the telegrams. You can visit that by going to t.me/PLS Mafia or t.me/BNB Mafia game. Guys, if you like what we do here and you want to keep the wheels turning and keep the lights on, consider donating to the channel. So this channel is not monetized. So if you do want to consider donating to the channel, you can do that by visiting KvltDeFi.pls.fyi, or there is a wallet in the description. That's it from me. I will see you all tomorrow for the next video. Thanks.